Hey y'all, today I'm going to be propagating some Silver Falls Dichondra, and I thought I'd bring y'all along for this. This is the first year I've ever grown Silver Falls Dichondra, and I really enjoyed it, but I have a really hard time finding this at any of the nurseries anywhere near me. In fact, this is the first year that I've ever been able to find it and grow it, and there was only one small little nursery. Really, it's more like a little farmer's market kind of nursery. Uh, that's not far from me, and they actually were carrying it this spring, but they only had a few small pots about the size of these right here. And so when I bought it, I thought, well, I wonder if I can propagate it. I bought two small pots and I divided them in half, but then I took a couple of propagations and I actually cut them, and they propagated fine from cuttings, but it did take longer. I'm going to show y'all an easier way to do it, a faster way to do it. The only thing is you need to know where you're going to do this at and just leave it alone, because it's going to be hard to move it once you start the propagation process of this. It'll be really hard to move it because you've got the big pot here, and then you're going to have little pots just kind of scattered down the line of this. I don't know how long this is. This is probably at least 5 to 6 foot long. You can see it's curled up at the end, and I actually have 2 pots of this, and then I have some in my window boxes that I'm also going to be pulling out. I'm not going to show all of that in this video. I'm just going to show y'all how to propagate this real quick. An easier way to do it than taking cuttings, although they both do work. And so what you're going to do is you can pull this apart, or you can just kind of leave it the way it is, which is what I'm planning to do. And you're just going to take little pots like this, like I said, and you're going to rake back the dirt in the little pots that you've got here. And you can use any kind of pot, any size pot you want. And you're going to put dirt over the top of that. Now, this would be easier. It'll hold it in place better if you've got some kind of little pans. The only kind I've got is the big landscape ones, so I'm not going to be doing it that way. If you have small kids or critters that you might have to worry about, pulling this out of the dirt, you can take you a couple of like little rocks, or something that's heavy enough to kind of hold it down and just lay them right in the center, because it's not going to affect the rooting process, because the root is going to be under here anyways, because this will be the actual plant once it's rooted. You'll cut this loose from the mother plant. So if you're needing, if you're needing to hold it in the dirt, or concerned about it getting pulled out, that's all you do is just lay something right in the center of it, and then you don't have to worry about kids or critters or whatever getting in your pots and pulling it out. I'm just going to, and then you want to come on down a little farther. Now you can do 2 rows of these, just depending on how many you want. I'm going to overwinter this. That's why I'm doing this. And you don't have to have but just a few. You could do 2 or 3 little strands. It really is just up to you on how many you want to propagate here. But I enjoyed this so much this year, till I plan on growing quite a bit of this next year in pots and other I don't know where all it's gonna go, but I'm gonna come down about, I want to say, maybe over 6 to 8 inches. and just continue covering it with dirt. Just like that. And then you're going to just continue this. I'm not going to pull this apart because there's no need in it. I plan on leaving these right where they're at. Unless we end up getting a freeze, which they're not giving any chance of that according to the weather for the next 10 days. Of course, the weather is always subject to change. So you just continue this way. I'm going to leave this end right here. I'm not going to, because that's the end of that little row. So I think it's going to pick up on this other row here and start right here at the end of this. And then you could leave it right there, although I probably wouldn't. I'm probably going to do one more little pot. And so, just to finish this little row out, because I'm going to have to cut this back if I leave it that long anyways. Because you're trying to develop roots, you don't want to leave a whole lot of growth on the end. And so, it's kind of funny. It kind of looks like a little train. But if you wanted to, you could go ahead and stick some more of this in pots and go all the way back up to where you started with this one, which I just pulled out of the dirt. But once you get these in your pots, you're going to want to add some water so you can get it started, the propagating process, the rooting, because it needs to stay damp. And I think these probably have little tiny roots all up the stem. So this shouldn't take no more than, I would say, 2 weeks. So if you're expecting a frost or a freeze within the next 2 weeks, if you start this now, then you're probably going to want to do this either in the house or a greenhouse or a garage that's not, going to get too cold. We have a carport, so that's not really an option for me. I mean, I could do it at this point, but either way, I'm still going to have to bring this in the house. But it'll be easy to bring in once these root, and what you'll do is once they root, you'll just come in here with your clippers, and this will be the first pot, and right here at the end of this somewhere, you're going to want to cut this off right here, and you'll do that all the way down. Because this next, this will be your actual propagations from this pot. This will be the ones from this pot. Anyways, you'll just still want to do that all the way down. And keep it in, if you're going to keep it in the house, put it in front of a sunny window until spring, until your last chance of frost. And then you'll be ready to propagate it. Now, if it does start looking a little rough during the winter time, you could throw a little bit of liquid fertilizer in it, which, sometimes you have to do that with things you're overwintering because they'll start looking really yellow. But if you do have to do that, it's usually just once. And it's usually because, it was something that you newly propagated right before you brought it inside. Because in my experience, most things that I'm overwintering, that I've propagated to overwinter, if I have to fertilize it, it's during the first probably month. And then after that, you just leave it alone and, keep it watered like you would if it was planted outside. You don't want to let it dry all the way out, but you don't want to keep it so moist that it rots, in the house, because it's not going to need near as much water inside as it would if it was outside. But anyways, I've got another pot that I'm going to do this way, and I'll probably just, once I cut these loaves, I'll just take the little seed tray that your little 6-packs come in, which you could also use a 6-pack. Let me see. If you wanted to do that, you could also take one of these, this is a little 4-pack. You can do a 4-pack, 6-pack, 8-pack, whatever you're wanting to do. And you could do it the same way. You would just pull this to the side like this and just kind of spread them apart here and there and just lay some dirt over it. And it would propagate the same as it's going to in these little pots. And in fact, mine would be easier because you can just do a little wad right in one spot, like you could do it down toward the bottom if you were only wanting a few of them. And then you could actually just leave them in this most of the winter, if not all of the winter. Right before spring, pop them out and put them in little pots. And you'd be ready to grow your silver files in the spring and summer. Well, I guess that's it for this video. Till next time. Bye.